Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm gonna be reviewing Walden by, I gotta cover up my face, Henry David Thoreau. I'll be honest, I did not like this book very much at all. I feel kind of weird about not liking it because I thought I would. Multiple people recommended it to me, and it just seems like a book that I would like. It's about a topic that I really enjoy, which is kind of self-reliance. He builds a cabin in the woods and just lives in that for 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days. So it's a really cool idea. I like it in concept and in theory, but I just did not enjoy reading it almost at all. Right when I start filming, the rain starts. So we'll see how well the audio turns out. But this is going to be a little bit different of a book review, I think. I'm going to try to go more in depth. So Henry David Thoreau is an American writer. He was born in Concord, Massachusetts in, let me double check this date, in 1817. He died when he was 44. And he's noted as being a lot of different things, including essayist, poet, philosopher, abolitionist, naturalist, tax resistor, development critic, surveyor, yogi, and historian. But in writing, his main field was transcendentalism. So transcendentalism is an American writing style and philosophical movement that happened in the 1820s and 1830s mainly, and it was kind of the idea of relying on yourself as a person, and that human nature, and just like nature in general, is inherently good, but society has made people do bad things, basically. That's kind of the idea, is that people should rely on themselves more, and that would make the world a better place, which I do agree with. I do like the idea of transcendentalism. I just did not like this book. I think the last chapter of this book was pretty well written. The conclusion chapter, I did enjoy that. The whole book is well written. I just don't like the style. It's more of just a personal preference thing. It's not that he's a bad writer or anything, but I think the conclusion was really good. Personally, I would have just preferred if that's all he wrote, was just this short essay that was like 10 pages long. I think it gets his entire point across, and you don't need the other 250 pages of this book. That's my personal opinion. I know it's pretty harsh, because this is like an extremely famous book, and I'm probably on the minority of people who don't enjoy it. But I just didn't really enjoy his style of how many references he makes to, everything. He references the Bible, Hindu texts, like 12th century English poets. He references so many things. There's a reference on, at least, I would say, like on average, there's 2 to 3 references per page, which really just makes it hard for me to stay focused, because I'm constantly going down to the footnotes and seeing what he's referencing, and it just took me so long to get through this book. My brain doesn't work the same way that his does. I much preferred like Ernest Hemingway, that's more of a flow of consciousness, just how a normal brain thinks, rather than like, this seemed like a thesis paper or something like that, like a really educational, informative piece that I just couldn't really get into, even though I really like the topic. Another thing that I just couldn't quite get into in this book was kind of, I couldn't really understand his personality very much. He would go very quickly in between like being racist and being like an abolitionist, which was just kind of confusing to me. He, like, multiple times he made racist comments about especially American Indians. He called them savages and all this stuff. But then like the next page he'd be like, I can't support a country that uses people as slaves. So yeah, it's just kind of weird. I couldn't really get a grasp on what this guy's feelings were of things. I don't think he was intentionally trying to be racist. It could just be a product of it being written in the 1840s. But yeah, it was just kind of strange jumping in between those two mindsets of being an abolitionist. He actually, later on in his life, I'm pretty sure later on after writing Walden, he went to jail for not paying taxes because he didn't want to pay taxes to a country that supports slavery. So he was an abolitionist, so his racist comments in this book were just kind of confusing to me. So like I said, it was written more like a research paper or something like that. He starts out, the first chapter is called Economy, and it basically goes over everything that he spent money on, like starting off, how he supported himself, like how he grew his food and what he spent on like seeds, and then how much he made for selling the food and what he bought and all this stuff, like how he built his house. Just goes over pretty much every single penny, like down to the half a penny that he spent in this time. Yeah, so it's just kind of, I mean, it's written more like a scientific paper than a book. I think it's kind of like how researchers would write something so someone could recreate this same thing, do this same experiment, which is cool. I like it, and that's the whole thing is kind of a call to action, telling other people that this is what is good for humans, is to be more self-reliant and not kind of buy into this whole society thing that's going on, which in a way I think is really helpful for people right now. There's another like simplicity movement going on right now. I mean, I'm living in this tiny house. You can see the studs and everything. Like, obviously I live very simply, and the whole living in a van movement, tiny houses, all sorts of thing, is kind of basically like the new transcendentalist movement, I think. So he goes on to describe in crazy detail this year. He did it for 2 years, but he condensed this story down into 1 year, flowing through the seasons, basically ending in spring. And he kind of uses that as a metaphor. Like, he does it multiple times. Like, the day is like a year, starts in spring, the noon is like summer, then it goes to autumn, and night is winter. And the human life is also the same way. So he's using this year to show like either a day like at the small scale, or a human life at the large scale. And yeah, he goes into very fine detail over every single thing that he does, everything he eats, reads, who he talks to when he goes into town, how he gets water, what the lake looks like at different times of the year, like what animals are there and what the animals sound like and look like, and it does paint a picture. You can really see where he is, and that part I really did enjoy, when he was just really giving this detailed explanation of the setting and the characters, mostly being other animals and plants and nature and stuff like that. But that part I really did enjoy, because you can really see it in your mind's eye where he was on this lake called Walden, and what his cabin looked like and all these things. So yeah, he really transports you there with him, which is a part of the book that I really did enjoy. So yeah, overall, I really do like the message of this book. Like I said, personally, I think I could have just done with reading the conclusion chapter and that being it, but I am glad that I read the whole thing, stuck through it. It's just not my style. I think it's very well written, and I do like the topic. I like almost everything about this book besides just how it's written. So yeah, I just ended up not liking it very much. But yeah, totally a personal feeling about it. I think a lot of people would really gain a lot from reading this. I was already kind of on the same page as him anyway with all the transcendentalism stuff. I didn't really have a word for it, but obviously the self-reliance, building this house for myself, and not wanting to be away from society completely, but kind of like, yeah, just trying to do things my own way as much as possible, which is basically what this whole thing is about. It's about listening to your own feelings about the world, and listening to what nature and the world has to tell you. And I think in that way it's a very important read for a lot of people. And yeah, I think you should read it, even if you end up not liking it like I did. It's mostly just because it's written so strangely in a way that's not, it's not like a novel, and it's not like an autobiography really. Yeah, like I said, it's more like a research paper, but it's pretty interesting. I think I would recommend this, even though I didn't like it very much. That's pretty much all I have for my first attempt at this new kind of book review, trying to go a little bit more in depth rather than just giving you a synopsis of the plot. So let me know what you think, if you like this kind more, what kind of things I should learn about the author and the book that I can relay better, or if you like just a more simple review of a few books rather than just a more in-depth video of one. I'll probably be trying to post one of these a week or so, depending on how much I read. But yeah, let me know what you think, if you like this style more, if I should go even more in depth, because this was still just mostly off the top of my head with a little bit of research. But yeah, that's all I got. This was Walden by Henry David Thoreau. Thanks for watching. Peace out.